Heroes run it back home again for another regional top. This is actually becoming quite interesting, this format. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We have the Mississippi regional breakdown here. Now, I'm not going to do a lot of these regional breakdowns upcoming set, but I will tell you that it is kind of interesting to see a snapshot here as to how the format is kind of evolving and handling things here. Now, the best represented deck in the room, to nobody's surprise, was actually tier. Yay, 3 tier in representation. Though I will tell you, one of these tier lists is so cool and awesome that I definitely didn't expect to see it. So that'll be something for you to look at for here in terms of lists. Now, we also had one Flanderies player make its way into Top Cut here as well. I will say that it is definitely nice to see the birds actually standing up and getting the chance to do what they do best, which is swarm the competition. All jokes aside, I do think that it is nice to see that Flander has been holding up to expectations here as a pretty solid rogue choice here. Now, there were 2 Sprite decks in representation. One was Runic Sprite, which after the extravaganza you definitely saw end up being one of the more interesting builds as of late. And I do think that the Runic build with Sprite has become more of the dominating build. And then we also had an Evil Twin Sprite list as well here. Now, a lot of people have kind of fallen back on the Evil Twin Sprite as like the go-to, deck here. And I will say, all things considered, yeah, it definitely seems like it. We also had Despia make Top Cut as well. I have not got the chance to see a lot of Despia do well as of late. So I actually seen Despia come up to the plate and do well. Absolutely amazing. And the build that took me by storm was actually Hero. This was 2 Hero decks now that I've seen that have had the chance to have success as of late. And that's quite an amazing turnaround if you ask my personal opinion here. We're going to pass on over to Top Deck List now. You guys smash. Just kidding. You already did that part. All right. So we have your deck list here for the Mississippi Regional. Now, this is your top 8 hero list here. Now, interesting things to kind of note here. Obviously, Dark Angel is going to be an amazing card. If you play against the right matchups, getting the chance to blink your opponent's spell cards will just be an amazing finish for you. All right, you should have no problem because of this card. Standard Plasma package in here is fine. I do take note of here that Rivalry of the Warlords being the floodgated choice has definitely led to some more, I would say, interesting turnaround points here within the format, all right? I also like the fact that we're also citing Goes in Match down here. While Goes in Match and, Rivalry, you can pretty much interchange these to some degree, it's still having the option trees to kind of diversify and swap between is going to be just that. Obviously, one of the key reasons why Hero gets a chance to even do well is right here. All right, Dark Law is an amazing card. While we do have board breakers and main decks across a lot of the format here, like droplets, you can kind of navigate correctly underneath this. Also, Plasma being able to punish your opponent, still being one of the best fantastic cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Always is going to feel somewhat good. Outside of that, a lot of these hero decks end up looking pretty standard. I mean, you just kind of pick your ratio of Stratos, but it looks like 3 looks like it was the best choice for this particular event. So congratulations on making top 8 with heroes. Now, there's a lot going on here with this list. We're actually playing high rate draw. Destroy 2 or more monsters you control, and if you draw 1 card for every 2 monsters destroyed. During your opponent's main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, target 1 monster you control destroyed, and if you do, set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. So we can pop all of our tier monsters and then trigger their fusion effects. We're also playing Night Sword Serpent here. If this card sends the graveyard by a card effect, you special summon it but banish when it leaves the field. That's a level 4. I see that we're also playing Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. We'd actually seen this come up a couple of times before here, where people, you'll use Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, you'll search for the Emerald Turtle, and then the Paralineo here. We are also playing Vice of Starvrost here as a level 6 tuner to get access to the Baron. I will tell you, in terms of innovation and things, for Sprite, this is by far the most hacked out build that I've actually seen. You know how many builds that we saw previously that were like, oh my god, you have to rely on that danger package in order to capitalize and get off the ground? Well, Here you don't actually see that, which is actually kind of interesting. When you can see diversity and things like this change within a format, that is definitely tall-telling to me. So I actually really like what we're doing here with this build. This is one of the coolest decks I've seen in a very, very long time within the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Next up here is Flanderies. Okay, so we're on triple duality, triple prosperity. I'm not really surprised to see, you know, a real change in innovation there. We have 2 copies of Dark World No More for board breaking. Only 2 Book of Moons for defensive plays. I mean, these are going to be your answers to take care of certain things that your opponent's going to do. Double End Pen is fine. I'm glad to see 1 Stormwinds has stuck around. Things are getting really strange out here when people are trying to play 2 of these things. While I understand that we're trying to be cute out here, it's really good. Now this is spicy. We actually have Royal Decree in our side deck. Wow, this takes me back, all the way back to the old Control days, man. But this is really good. I also like the fact we have an extra Unexplored Winds down here in the side deck. This is starting to catch on a little bit as of late for Flounder players. Honestly, just getting the chance to use this card to punish your opponent is very, very solid. All right, so that is by far one of the coolest Flounder lists I've also seen in a while. Next up, oh, this is basic tier elements. All right, something a little bit more enjoyable here, per se. Standard 12 tier monsters, you're never going to really change that. Standard Paralinios, we're not even like getting crazy here in terms of the rate of innovation. We're just don't even need the danger package anymore. We have triple Cosmic Cyclone built in because you know it's a regional and it's fresh off of that ban list. You know that somebody out here is going to try to bring in that disgusting Mystic Mine. Just kidding, we have outs to Mystic Mine. We have triple Eradicator in here. This duelist was like not very sparing with the amount of spell and trap hate that they had, because they had 3 and then you literally boarded in 4 more. So you have plenty of option trees in order to handle something like Mystic Mine that would potentially try to ruin your day. Outside of that, a lot of Ghost Reapers showing up out of this event. I don't know if you really paid attention to a lot of the other side decks here so far, but there's been a lot of Reaper. All right, next up here, Sprite Evil Twin. I can't say that I'm surprised to see Swap Frog still showing up in some sort of capacity. I suppose that this is genuinely okay. Sprite players out here really trying to hold on to the alti Swap Frogs that they bought out here. Honestly, Evil Twin package on 1 Kishi's to kill, 2 Frost with what? Just oh, that's it. Just the 1-2 split with 2 of these. All right, wow, they've dramatically reduced that. And then of course we have the 1 Sunny Snitch here, and then we still have the 1 Gamma Burst showing up down here. Gamma Burst is a fantastic OTK card. Watching all your level 2 rank 2s and everything just get huge off a 1400 attack boost out of left field. Your opponent's just like, what in the world do I do about this? I also see we're playing an Unchained Abomination down here as well. That's kind of spicy at the end of the day. Lots of cool little innovations out here for this. I like it. Next up here we have Despia. Oh my gosh. First of all, we're still playing your Tier Elements package in here. All right, so don't be fooled by this. We're still doing this. It's just we're more centralized within the Despia core here, and then versus the inclusion of this. I see we're also playing 1 Galaxy Cyclone in here. I mean, to be fair, you do the random RNG mill stuff with this, so it's fine. This looks like an OCG list. We're just playing the 1 Paralineo. Maybe this duelist just didn't have access to extra Paralinios, or maybe they just wanted to go ahead and try splashing it within this, but I understand that like this all works out at the end of the day. Fry for Patrick's still going to be one of the most amazing cards that you can have. Trust me when I say this, like, Patchwork still as a card in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is absolutely amazing. It surprises me that more and more people haven't really tried to mess around with this. Outside of that, still playing 1 a pointer down here. A pointer, even at 1, is still seeing play. All right, you'll love to see it. And then we have a top, so that's all I have for top 8. I have 1 top 16 list I wanted to show here, which was actually Sword Soul. I try to showcase Sword Soul whenever I can, because this was the former, Chad Tier 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck that just fell from glory so quickly. So to see that players are still, holding on to this deck, is there anything really special about this list? No, but I know a lot of people continue to like to ask, hey, like, what's going on with Sword Soul, Rob? Like, what innovations are we seeing here? Well, I mean, It's still basic stuff. Nothing really changes at the end of the day. So this is basic Sword Soul. Nothing really too much to say. So that is your breakdown out of the Mississippi Regional. Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.